I'm coming up to the end of a rather large commission, 2,000 points of World Eaters, and I've only got the last kind of couple of bits and pieces left, and one of those things is an awesome World Eaters Demon Prince. And as I was going to sit down and paint it the other day, I thought you guys might like to come along this journey and watch me put my as much effort as humanly possible into this particular piece. Obviously, it's a standout piece for the army, and I want the customer to be really happy with it. So I'm going to dive in and do that. I'm going to be focusing on nothing but Green Stuff World paints in this one, as they have sponsored today's video. So that should be fun, trying to work out all those colors for this awesome model. So without further ado, let's dive in and get working on this awesome piece. Okay, so this is said Demon Prince, and as you can see, it is a stunning model. I got it built up using all of the Khorne options you get with the kit. I gave him a spray of black and then an overspray of just any kind of red spray that I had, just to kind of set a base tone before I start actually painting. From here, we're going to move on and work on the skin first. And for this one, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with it. And I thought I'd use like a normal Caucasian skin tone. So I started with Blushing Flesh, and I base coated in all of the skin that you can find on this model, which of course is midriff. You know, he likes a good crop top. His face, neck, his hands, there's bits of arms, the lower parts of his legs. And you basically go shopping for all the different parts that are skin. I decided that a huge portion of his backpack was going to be done in skin. And then his like cannon that kind of molds from armor to skin. I did a lot of that in skin. I just played around with it a lot because I knew what this was going to look like, and I thought it was going to look really, really cool. After this, we grabbed the Pectum Flesh color for the shade, and we applied this all over the skin tone that we just applied. This is a really nice kind of a series of colors, that Blushing Flesh, that Pectum Flesh shade. Then I go back to Blushing Flesh and then Elf Flesh. It's something I've been doing for all my kind of Trench Crusade miniatures, and it's what I've been using for all the stuff I've been painting with the Green Stuff World paints, and I just really, really like it. So like I said, I go back to Blushing Flesh now for my first layer. And that's me kind of blocking in all different volumes and shapes of the model. You can see how cool that backpack looks with all the skin tone on it. Really kind of disconcerting. Now, I know a lot of, you know, Khorne Demon stuff should be done with like red skin. But the project that I was doing, this 2,000 points of World Eaters as a commission, he has a lot of, you know, Goremongers and Exalted 8-Bound and all those kind of guys. And I kind of wanted this guy to blend in more with them than just to be this standalone red demon. There's no other demon units in it. So I decided to do the same skin tone that I did on all those guys on him. And obviously I'm recording the audio for this retrospectively, so I know what it looks like at the end, and I'm really happy with it. So I'm really glad that I decided to do that. This is in fact one of those moments, although I don't really want a World Eaters army, but when this model was finished painting, it definitely has that. If anyone out there has done any commission work, you'll know there's certain projects you do for people where you just don't want to give them back. You're just really happy with them. You think it looks really cool. You want to keep it in your collection. This was one of those models for me. Like I said, after we layered up that Blushing Flesh, we went to that Elf Flesh, and we do a really nice light highlight on that skin, which will really just kind of push everything to the next level, make it pop. I just look really kind of paladin sinister looking, which I love. As you can see, I'm very much taking my time with a small brush and getting all those kind of shapes, all those small lines in on the face. And because like the demonic skin is so cool across this model, it's very easy to layer it and highlight it, because all the different, there's no like, you know, smooth sections where you're not sure where the highlight's meant to go. With that shade on, you definitely know where you're supposed to highlight, and which is my favorite way of painting. I love when you can see that. And with the skin all done, it's time to start trimming in the rest of the pieces. So Eldorado gold was used for all that beautiful gold trim across the armor. You wouldn't be a chaos miniature without a monstrous amount of golden trim. So I took my time and I made sure to get all those different bits and pieces across the model, whether it be on the armor, whether it be on the axe, any of the other trinkets or any of those bits and pieces that are hanging off the armor. Make sure to catch it all with your nice gold paint. Eldorado gold is really nice. It gives it quite a nice solid base coat. And it's a really nice color as well. It's not kind of too bright, too vibrant. It's just kind of just right for a base coat. Now time to base coat in all the bone sections. So we have a sun bleached bone. And basically these are for like the nails and claws. And then all of the bone protrusions that happen on this model. So there's lots of spikes and stuff coming out of like shoulders and, you know, arms and stuff like that. Obviously the tail. So make sure to get those blocked in with a bone color. This will be my third model of this painting on the channel. I've done 3 of these Demon Princes now. I've done a Nurgle one, a generic one for my Night Lords, and now a World Eaters one. So I think I just have an Emperor's Children one and 1,000 Suns ones left to do, and we're laughing. So maybe one day I'll get my hands on more of these Demon Princes and I'll get to do those projects. But it's such a versatile kit. It's really nice. I'm a big fan of it. So it's one of those projects where if I get commissioned to do another one, I don't like scoff at it. I'm not annoyed. I'm like, oh, I got to paint another one of those. It's one I would be excited to paint again. Bit of Black Stallion just for some of the other details. So all the kind of random cabling that exists across the model. Obviously his beard and his hair. His like tabard going down the front. The handle of the axe. Any of those other details. The kind of all the little leather straps and stuff holding the skulls onto his armor. You can block those all in with black as well. And then we bring in Andalusian Earth to shade down every other section of the model, bar the skin. The skin is exactly where we want it to be, so don't hit that with the Andalusian Earth. But everything else, rocks, skulls, armor, gold, bone, everything. This will darken all those sections down and gives a really nice starting point for the layering process. The inks and shades that they have for Green Stuff World are so good because when they dry, they're so matte, and it just gives you this really nice, like I said, jumping off point for the layering. You will see in a moment the result when it dries, and it just looks really cool. It's really nice and neat and tidy. So I quite enjoy it. I also have some brown texture paste on the base and waited for that to dry so I could finish up the basing before I start the layering process. But you can see, like I said, how matte and neat and tidy the model is looking already from that shade. While that basing material is drying, I thought I'd jump over here and tell you about the best ways to support the channel. There's a myriad of different ways to do it. Obviously, big thank you to everybody there that just watches the videos. That makes a huge difference. Obviously, you go the extra mile and you drop a comment, you like the video, you share it to your friends. That's also incredible. And anyone out there who really does support the channel by going over to Patreon and signing up, you guys keep the lights on, the cameras rolling. And for you guys, we try and do as much as humanly possible to give back. That's why you guys get extra videos. You get access to the podcast. You get access to the private Discord server. We do a whole host of different things over on the Discord, like community showcases, and there's a really big community, over 500 people over there now and stuff like that. And we do monthly giveaways for that. So if you want to be with a chance of winning a Spear Tip box or a Combat Patrol box of your choice, all you need to do is be signed to the Patreon at any tier. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's dive in and see how we're getting on with this Demon Prince. So with the base all out of the way, which is just a little bit dry brush of orange and then bone, and then I rim the base black, nothing crazy. It's time to start the layering process, and like I said, I'm going to start with the actual red color of the armor. We hit it with that previous spray at the very beginning. Super quick, super easy just to knock down a base tone. But Cutthroat Red is going to be brought in as the first layer paint. And with this, we are not looking for full coverage. We're looking for kind of 70% coverage maybe. Using my kind of scratchy highlight method to, like I said, layer in the armor panels. But leave that nice dark shaded orange in all the recesses and all the nooks and crannies. Leave that behind as that nice base coat. And as you can see, this does layer beautifully. Now, obviously, Green Stuff World paints dry a little bit darker than they do when you first apply them. And that's something that's very important because you can kind of throw yourself off when you're trying to decide paints. Like when the mid-tone and the highlight look so far apart in the pot when they're wet, they look so bright and it's not right. But then obviously when I start applying it to the model, when they dry, they dull down a little bit and then they look perfect. So when I was originally trying to plan out this color scheme and I did grab my red truth, that going over the previous red just seems like a bad mix. It looks like I'm missing a layer in between, and I was a little bit skeptical and nervous. But as I started to apply it and it started to dry that beautiful matte color, it was exactly what I wanted from this model, and I was really happy with the choice. I mean, as a versatile kit, like I said, this one already does come with the options for all 4 major gods, plus an undivided option. Plus, you want to do it for Age of Sigmar or 40k. All those options are in that kit. Games Workshop doesn't really do those kind of crazy, kind of multi-part, multi-build kits anymore. They're very much that one box builds, one model, and you don't have to worry too much about it. So it's really nice to kind of go back to your roots and get a model like this again, and then make the decision that you want as to what equipment it has and what head it has, and if it has a wings or it has a power pack or any of those. I love how the red looks. It definitely pops next to that real pale, but still quite reddish skin. I think they sit next to each other really, really nicely. So now, this is one of those things I do to save on the number of paints that I use in a project. I don't want to, throw out a list of 400 paints for painting everything, because that can be really kind of disheartening for anyone who's trying to follow along. So I love to base coat my models, then shade my model down quite darkly, and then use the same paints I used to base coat it to layer it up. So we're going back to Eldorado Gold, and we're going to re-highlight all that gold, leaving the Andalusian Earth Gold behind, like I said, like the red in all the recesses, nice and dark. And this will make all those details pop. And we're going to do this for quite a few other details across the model. Like we're going back to Anthrax Metal, which is what we use to base coat all the metals. We're going to go in and tidy up all those different sections, his claws, his immense axe, some of the chain work, and any other details that are sat, like the tips of his horns, with that Anthrax silver. Sunbleached Bone was once again reintroduced and used to highlight back up all of the nails, horns, and claws, and all those bits and pieces. As you can see, it does act like a highlight color. The Andalusian Earth has darkened it down so much that this simple highlight is going to make all those details pop, and it works beautifully. You can then go ahead and add like an edge highlight or a third layer of coloring. If you want to go for bright silver on the edge of all the gold, or if you want to go to almost a pure white or ivory to highlight the horns even more, or a brighter, that's totally up to you. I love the kind of tone that I'm getting with the model with this, so I'm happy to continue doing that. So with all those different bits and pieces kind of layered up, I added some red for the eyes, touched up the tongue, painted the teeth. I added some snow texture to the base. The guy wasn't very clear on what kind of basing style he wanted, but I did request that we do snow, because obviously the cornate stuff mixed with the snow really does give a beautiful finishing point. And I'm really, really happy with this model. And hopefully you guys enjoyed coming along on this journey and seeing me paint it up. And you're looking forward to more videos like this in the very near future.